Hey guys, the sun just dipped behind the trees over there, so I thought I would come out here and do the garden tour for the week. What are you doing? We've got an invader. They've been coming over here and hopping through that cattle panel on the end of the porch. Little twerps. So this week I have really been noticing that there's a lot of things that are starting to wind down drastically as far as production, growth, and all of that out here in the garden, both in the duck garden out here and the big garden over there on the other side of the barn. So my sage is recovering, as well as the thyme, from having been completely swallowed up by the cosmos and bee balm and all that were out here. Now, my tomato plants that are out here in the duck garden are still producing. However, it has drastically slowed down. The tomatoes are much fewer in numbers. They are generally a lot smaller than they were. There's really not very many slicers happening anymore. Yesterday I came out here and discovered some damage. See if I can get that right there. You notice something's been eating that tomato. Well, I came out here and found 5 tomato hornworms. I found 2 here in the duck garden in this tomato bed, and I found 3 more out in the big garden. And so, yeah, it's not too hard to notice their damage. It's pretty obvious when you lay your eyes on it. You know they're there somewhere and you gotta find them. And so I think I found all of them. I'll probably come out here again tonight after dark with my UV light and do a little more hunting to see if there's any more. So like I said, they're still producing. I mean, we've still got baby tomatoes all over, which is good, but they're really growing very, very slowly, and there's just not much to them. And they're ripening when they're much smaller as well. Now, these particular tomatoes out here in the front, remember a couple weeks ago I talked about how I was pulling back all this loofah and it had actually snapped off the tops of several of these plants, and I mentioned how when that happens, when the tomato plant is topped off, no more tomatoes are going to grow. What happens is then the tomatoes that are there, the plant will push those tomatoes to ripen quickly because they think it's coming to an end. And so all of those little bitty tomatoes that were there were pretty much going to ripen as is, and they weren't really going to get much bigger. So several of those had that happen to them. Not all of them, but some of them did. But that's just what happens, unfortunately. You live and you learn. Every year when you garden, you learn from your mistakes. You learn those lessons, like don't plant loofah by your tomatoes. The cucumbers are still producing, but those 2 are getting a little bit smaller and slowing down. I don't think they'll be putting too much more out much longer anyways. Out here in my skinny bed, I've got some zinnias that have started blooming again. The ducks had kind of eaten all of these and I didn't think anything was going to come of them, but we've got some buds, so it looks like we'll get some more of those if the ducks leave them alone. My lavender that I planted here, no flowers yet, so I don't really know anything about this lavender variety, so I'm guessing maybe it flowers in the late summer. That's my guess. The catnip has flowered that I have out here in this bed. You can see all of these pretty little flowers. The bees like them. And I have some late blooming bee balm out here as well. Look how bright this variety is. It's like a fuchsia color. So up underneath the loofah arch, we still have the one lone loofah gourd. I have not seen any signs of any others up here in this madness. Again, I really think it's probably just choked out. There's just way too much plant on this one arch, and so I will definitely do this a little bit differently next year. I just found some ripe tomatoes hidden here under the loofah. I'll have to come back out here and grab these. Check this out. I was just about to walk by the butterfly bush when I saw this. It is a praying mantis that is actually in the process of molting. Isn't that the coolest thing? So the insects out here in the big garden have come in waves. You know, towards the beginning we were dealing with the Mexican bean beetles and the cucumber beetles and things like that. And now we've got things like this. And those things are humongous. That is on my Mongolian giant sunflower, which has a thick stem, just for context of how big that ugly thing is. There's another one on the other side. Back when I took a class on companion gardening and organic pest control and all of that through our extension office, one of the things that they told us was, congratulations, you live in Alabama and we have it all. We have everything that wants to eat your garden and destroy your garden. And it's a battle. I mean, I love it, but it is work, and it is a constant struggle to keep the garden from the pests and the heat and the rain, then the drought, then the rain again, and that's just the way it is. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. We do struggle with a lot of things here in 7B in northern Alabama, but we do have a very long growing season. We have time to have 2 gardens, and so as this garden winds down and everything just starts looking sad and pitiful, I kind of step back and I can let things go to seed, collect the seeds, let the garden take a break, and as things die off, I can move it out, refresh, and plant new. You know, just like I planted the sunflower seeds out in the front for fall sunflowers. I have certain beds that I will be reusing. I'm not going to redo the entire garden again, but I do have a couple beds that I do plan on having a small fall winter garden in. I've just got a few things that I want to grow, like some carrots and some brassicas, turnips, things like that. And so as all this stuff goes away, some of it will be getting replaced with other things. Now, in my last garden tour, one of my subscribers noticed something on camera that I hadn't been able to see because the camera is often at a different angle than my eyes when it's looking at things in the garden. And she said, "There's a crack in your watermelon, you might need to get it." And I thought, no, there can't be. So I looked at the video, and this was really late at night when I saw this. And I looked at the video and I was heartbroken. Yes, indeed, there was a huge crack in that watermelon that I hadn't seen. And so the chickens and Edith got the watermelon. They loved it. But so far, the other Charleston gray watermelons are looking good. There's just a couple more that grew, and I checked them over. They look good. The Moon and Stars watermelon, you know, I had a bunch of itty bitty little babies that kind of came up, but only 2 have really done anything, and one of them just kind of rotted on the vine. I don't know why. I don't know a lot about growing watermelon, so I'll be happy if I can get one of them. That's all I can say. I've still got that one down there that's looking pretty good, and I do have a couple more baby ones that have started, so hopefully we'll get some more. I mean, honestly, when it comes to things that I'm experimenting with, growing for the first time, I'm not devastated if I don't get a ton of them. I'm happy if I can try them out and, you know, see if I like them and see if I want to grow them again. So it is what it is. Like my jungle of noodle beans that I have back here. So we've got Tabasco peppers ripening on the plants. This is the first time I've grown Tabasco peppers, and they are prolific. I knew they were prolific when I did this. That's why I only planted 3 plants. But as you can see, 3 plants has given us hundreds of peppers. So when I talked about hornworms damage being very easy to spot, let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at the top of that tomato plant, how it is completely stripped to stems. The other day, it looked like this, with leaves all over it, and then out of the blue, it looked like that. And when I saw that, I knew there was a tomato hornworm here somewhere. And there was 3 of them out here in this bed. And now there's not. Mr. Smith is still bragging on these blackbird sage tomatoes. He still goes on and on about how good they taste and how much he loves them. We've got a Dr. Witch's in here, ripening up. I'll go ahead and take that. It's probably going to be one of the last ones of the year. And like this is probably one of the last Dr. Wike's tomatoes of the season, I think this will probably be my last garden tour for the 2019 summer season. Things are slowing down. There's not as much happening out here. Things are winding down, like the tomatoes, the zucchini are gone, and things like that. So I mean, I'll still come out here in the garden and share things that are happening, but I don't think there will be any more full garden tours for the summer. I think this is it, you guys. I hope you have enjoyed these walks through the garden with me and seeing how things have been going. You know, it's a modest garden, but I think it's a beautiful garden. And after I had so many struggles last year with my illness and our garden just completely being a loss for the most part, this garden this year has brought me so much joy. So thanks for coming along with me again here at A Good Life Farm. If you are new to my channel, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button. I do videos on homesteading, home cooking, and back to basics living. And during the garden season, weekly garden tours like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all next time.